Okay, so today we are playing Oak and Ash and Thorn. It is hopefully maybe the wrap up of these roses things. I don't know. I don't want to make promises. The background's really pretty though. So we are in Folksong again. Everybody remember? Very whimsical, very high fantasy. As the game starts, through the sky, we're all noticing tons of dandelion fluffs just coming in and landing. And when they are a distance away, everything seems normal. It's okay, I guess it is the season. Then you start feeling them hit the ground. They are light for their size. They are huge. They're about the size. The seed pod itself is the size of a building. And thousands of these are coming all over around the yoke area of Folksong, just landing. They are coming up from the south. And they have asked for help from any notable botanists or anybody that is familiar with, they keep saying, the dark arts, which is how we get to the party that we have for today's game. I know the screen's gonna move in a second. Okay, so we've got Art playing B positive, B minus today. Hi. Thank you, Art. And we have Sparkly playing Melinoë.
Hello, hello.
And Shiny is playing Osiria.
Hello.
And Jacob is playing Charity.
Hello again.
So we are actually gonna start with this party and the crew exploring outside of the area of Yoke. The party and crew can be doing this. And you have come across one of the first ones that landed. This is accurate size for some of them. This is one that has rooted and has begun to already grow into a form, and there's a crowd around it. And this is what you guys are seeing. Jacob, Charity, can you roll me a 20-sider?
Sure. As soon as I can. Oh, there you go. Ah, we're off to a good start.
Oof.
Excellent.
A 4. All right. So, yeah, don't worry about it. Doesn't mean anything terrible. It just means that this little guy doesn't recognize you for whatever reason.
I just had this question of is it possible to grab hold of one of these things and get fly away, kind of like Mary Poppins, but with the dandelion tuft?
Not yet.
Okay.
But so this guy comes out from behind one of these fluffs, and it's clear that he's been riding one. This is what he looks like, but he's much, much smaller.
Aww.
He is absolutely adorable.
I'm sorry, I did not remind you all to, if you can, keep an eye on the TTS bot channel so that you can see when Art is typing. If you can. So nobody talks over her.
Roger.
Right. So this little guy comes running out, and he's just okay. And you see him brushing himself off from a hard landing. He's all right, are you the ones that we sent for?
I'm gonna look at the other crew members.
I need a doctor with somebody who's good with plants, somebody that knows dark arts, and I need somebody, the letter said, red hair, wears a hat, goes by Charity.
That would be me.
Oh, and at that moment he is pointing at B while he's saying that, thinking that B is the red-haired one. Oh, hair. Okay.
B points at herself.
Oh, wait, which one?
I am Charity. This is B.
Charity?
Charity.
Oh, Okay, you're Charity, and that's Cherubi?
No, her name is B.
Oh. Are you just T then?
My entire name is Charity.
Oh, I see. Charity and Cherubi. Got it. Okay.
Charity opens their mouth to respond, and they're just kind of like, never mind. Do continue, please.
Nod, nod.
Excellent. Okay.
Oh,
hello.
I'm Melinoë. I'm probably the doctor they asked for.
Melinoë, excellent. A doctor. And he turns and looks over at Osiria. Are you good with the dark arts?
Well, no, but I am knowledgeable about plants.
Dark arts over here. It's probably me.
Excellent. It's just like he gives very strange directions, and I don't read very well. So he puts his note back into his back pocket. He's like, "Okay, everybody. I assume that you're familiar with what we're doing here, and let's get to it." And you see him snap his fingers a couple times. I'm Fluffer, by the way. His name is literally Fluffer.
Pleasure to meet you, Fluffer.
Thank you. It's just he snaps his fingers, and you see a couple dandelion fluffs come down, and he grabs onto one. Are we ready to go?
Oh, I believe so.
Yes.
And then, yeah. So, if everybody grabs on, I assume B's gonna go along for the ride, although she has not said so. I see her typing now, though.
I'll climb on someone's shoulder.
Oh, okay. Let me fix this then. Whose shoulder is B climbing on then?
She can climb on mine.
Alright. So then, as soon as everybody is grabbed on, the wind picks you all up and is suddenly going to the south when it's been going to the north this whole time. And then we're just off into the sky, traveling over the waters of the Folksong Sea. And go ahead.
Fluffer, do you control these with magic?
It's I don't. I had this scroll that told my master when to do it.
I see.
He is not holding on to one this time. He is literally just using his head to go.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Your master, Fluffer.
Oh, the guardian of the fauna. And the flora. I meant the guardian of the flora. That's where we're going.
I have a sneaking suspicion I know what this is about.
It's I would hope so. That's why we were sent after you specifically, Miss Charity. And as it goes over, we're gonna real quick cut to everybody in the Adventurers Guild everybody all around Yoke, the neighboring cities, are sneezing their heads off. You see people with watery eyes everywhere. It's a massive allergy attack for everybody in Folksong right now. So one of the Chester's just all right, everybody gather up, and he's just blowing his nose. He's all right, everybody gather up. We need to get rid of. Sorry, Rupert. We need to get rid of these accursed flowers. This dastardly dander. So everybody, if you can, if you're able to, form up into groups of 4 and destroy as many of these accursed seed pods as you possibly can before they take root. everybody, teams of 4, winners get these magical items. And he like motions to the side, and you see the hat, a hat that looks incredibly like the hat from Fantasia. You see a broom that every once in a while, when you see it out of the corner of your eyes, it looks like it starts walking around. You see a magic wand that looks like a conductor's baton, and you see a magical paintbrush. It's like those 4 items are for the winning team. So everybody's gonna like pair up into groups of 4 again and head out to destroy these seed pods. They are invasive. They do not belong on this side of and off of where they are. Know that they are bad plants. They're not bad guys. The plants aren't bad guys, but they don't belong in this side of the world, and normally they don't come out here.
Invasive species.
Exactly. So just don't feel bad for wiping them out. The plants aren't sentient yet.
Yet.
I can come back and change that.
Suddenly fucking B uses the bitter gift on a fucking seed, and then I'm in trouble all over again. But
I was
for the record,
thinking about Eater.
I assume that was supposed to be I was thinking about it, but I would be fine. I would figure out a way to make it work. But so you all like start not crash landing the things. Everybody give me a 20-sider. Let's see how well you land this. Except for B. B's gonna be whatever Melinoë rolls.
Oh, nice.
I'm sorry, B. Melinoë is a terrible pilot. Osiria, how come you landed so good? Have you done this in space, you think? Or you think like when your time in space helped you out?
I think so. That seems like the most logical explanation here.
I like the idea that for Osiria, it's very Captain Jack Sparrow at the beginning of the Pirates of the Caribbean, where the ship like gets right to the dock and he steps right off. But that just happens for Osiria. Like the seed pod crashes into the ground, but you just keep walking.
Heck yeah.
And then it's Melinoë and Charity try to do the same thing and just like fucking hit the ground in a roll.
Charity's hat falls off. She picks it up.
I at least want to say that I try to like cradle B, so when I go rolling, like I don't immediately faceplant them to the ground.
Absolutely. So you guys don't take any damage, but then you guys see Fluffer just slowly like drifting down. He's like, it takes a little while for me. And he's like, I would say like 10 feet above you right now. I keep calling Fluffer a he, but like, I don't assume their gender really. And she's like, they land next to you guys. It's like, okay. So, and in case you guys are curious to wonder where the dandelion seeds took them, you guys landed here. In case anybody was curious where we were going. We are literally here on the coast of this. And everybody give me a 20-sider, please, because you could each learn something, but for very different reasons.
Hey, a success! Woo! My first success of the night.
A 10's not a success.
Oh, it's not?
No, an 11's a success. A 10 is a mixed choice. Is a tough choice.
Ah, darn it.
Okay.
Tough choice.
That 2 is a 1 because of horseshoes and hand grenades.
I am
dear.
I am just so enthralled by the place. Like, oh my god, oh these beautiful plants. Hopefully there's some medicinal ones that I can find. I'm just distracted.
No, Osiria's right there with you. Like, she's just so like caught up in this.
Charity landed on her ass, so she's also just like busy trying to get all the dirt and grass off.
Let's see. How's that 1 go? Melinoë, with your 1, something is not even on this map, and it's not even on the map behind it. Like, it's even further that something is watching Melinoë, like, and you feel eyes on you. Like something is completely aware that Melinoë is here, and they know of your power, or they know what you are.
Oh.
And you feel like them knowing might not be the best thing.
Oh no. I'm just gonna go, if I still had a spine, I'd start feeling a shiver go down it. Oh.
I think everybody else, you guys get cold chills at the same time, including Fluffy. You see a couple of his little fluffs fall out of his hair. He's like, whew.
Did Melinoë say that out loud? Loud enough for everybody else to hear? The chill?
I mean, yeah, if you want to, for sure. I mean,
yeah, I just kind of go, it's like, if I still had a spine, I'd feel something go down it. Oh, oof, that felt weird. And of course, everybody else feels it. So Charity turns and looks at Melinoë. He's like, that's not a good sign. No, I don't like it when things know that I'm around. I mean, I just listen. I get it when civilians look at me and they're like, "Oh, it's a walking skeleton in a robot body," but this is strange. I don't like it.
The wild thing about your time you spent in Folksong, or at least in Yoke, nobody's looking at you guys weird. I don't know what B's been up to in the time that they've been spending in Folksong, B- specifically, but there are many slime people, including a hot slime woman named Lycan. She might have met up. I'm just saying. I have her token around here somewhere. Look at her.
Glorious.
Slime girl. Don't worry, she's not here.
I'm
though.
not against this.
So, you guys see the whole thing branch out to it, and it's just Fluff. It's just everybody ready to go? Safely. Oh yeah, you guys rolled out this rolls. Who rolled? Okay, Charity, your roll was made a success, and Osiria, your roll was a mixed success, and B's was a mixed success. All right. Charity's gonna be the only one that actually got anything out of those rolls, other than the threat that Melinoë has received. Charity, these plants are they're huge. That doesn't seem. The plants themselves do not appear magical. But something in it, something deep in this forest, is calling to you specifically. Almost like you can feel a heartbeat coming from the ground.
Charity remembers this feeling when the vine was inside their body. Okay. Charity is turning towards the forest and says, so you remember the roses? The whole reason we're here.
Mm-hmm.
It's calling to me. The roses that may look like me. And she points in the direction of where the pool is coming from.
Fluff is just I don't know a lot about the roses. There's a lot of flowers in here. I haven't learned all of their names. I was just born. It's we're actually gonna go this way first, if you don't mind. That's where my master lives. Unless you guys know exactly what the problem is. I don't know what the problem is.
It wouldn't hurt to get a little bit more information, but I know what part of the problem is at least, but it would be better to hear from someone who lives here.
Yeah, let's get the whole picture first.
Absolutely. So, Osiria, here's your tough choice. do you want to learn a little bit about the plants in this area? Or do you want to learn a little bit about the soil in this area?
I would rather learn about the plants, I think.
Right. So, you go up to one of the plants, and they're huge. Like this, and upon you studying it, it has the texture and the feeling of a normal earth style, like a little bit more colorful, obviously, because fantasy world, dandelion. Like, this is just a dandelion. You could do everything that you could do with a normal dandelion with this. You could brew yourself some dandelion wine. You could eat its roots. When you cut into it, that has milk. And it's not even particularly hard to cut into it, even though it's this big. Like, it's definitely harder because it's thicker. But you could take this thing down, no problem. Like, if a strong breeze comes, the whole thing is going to be uprooted.
Alright.
And B, would you like to know a little bit about... You know what? I'm just gonna... Like, it's not even a real question for B. B, the ground... Like, when you had the hard crash, like, you're touching the ground, and, like, B tastes everything with all parts of her body, though, right? Like, she doesn't actually form a tongue to lick. You kind of lick with everything, right?
Yup.
That's what I thought. Gross. Like, as, like, you touch down, you taste a mixture of many things. Volcanic ash is probably the number one thing that you are tasting. Like, kind of brimstone-y, kind of just like, but you can start to put the pieces together that might be why these plants are so big. But, oh, go ahead. In case anybody's wondering why I'm quiet, B is typing.
Be'll share that info with wild gestures and maybe scratching an image into the ground.
You guys watch B as she, like, scratches in a volcano into the ground, into, like, the dirt, and then, like, does a little lava explosion as gestures.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Though, that's impressive. I'm not gonna lie.
Fluffer looks over, sees B drawing in the ground, and just like, oh my, we can do that? And you see him pick up a little stick and start drawing things. Oh, wow.
We'll have to show you...
Oh, go ahead.
We'll have to show you all sorts of things, Fluffer, since you were just born recently.
It's like, oh, I wouldn't be too concerned. It's fine, though. And he's just like, he draws himself he draws a flower. It's like, ah. Are we ready to go?
Of course. Where's your master's home?
Oh, wait. He's typing something.
Yeah, I see it. And, he's just like, yeah, Master lives this way. I know it's that way, but I took a flower petal to get out of here, or like I took a dandelion to get out of here, so I'm not sure how to walk back. But I'm sure we can get there just fine. Go ahead, B, with whatever you're saying. All right, stop talking. Unless you were fine.
I'm good.
All right. So, the first thing you guys come across is, as you approach, you see way more plants than were there at the last place you were at. Like, the path has vanished, and like these are definitely a pile of weeds. And Fluffer's just looking at him, he's just like, I I don't know how to climb. I don't know how to get through that. And he's like, he's over there, but... And you see him just, like, whacking with the stick that he just picked up against one of the, like, weeds. He's like, that didn't work.
If I walk up to it and, like, try to push it, can I, like, kind of, like, somewhat make a path through by, like, trudging through since robot body?
Oh, yeah, give me a 20-sider. Also, art is typing, and I'm watching you type art.
And it's double up right now.
Yep, sure, give me 2 20-siders. Hope that one's not a 1.
Yeah.
Is it too thick for B to squish through?
Oh, give me 2 20-siders from B as well.
Can Charity sense anything at all? Like,
So I have an 8 and a 19.
I know you said that they are plants, but
These plants are just plants. They have, you can, if Osiria and Charity want to try to study these particular ones, I'll let you guys both roll. Wait, is Double Up still up? Double Up went away.
It went away right as I rolled.
That's fine. That's fine. Alright, roll again, because you ended up just rolling a 2 from... You put a space between the 2 and the D.
did you want me to roll?
Oh yeah, you two, yeah. Charity and Osiria both roll for me.
Alright.
2 or 1?
2,
times
please.
in a row.
You still rolled a 2, look at that. But Horseshoes and Hand Grenades is gone, so we don't have to panic about that. Just got a tough choice. So Melinoë rolled a 19, so yeah, you can force yourself through, but like you see them trying to like grow faster to get a little harm does not raise. A little harm lowers. A little help raises.
Okay.
So, I'm not sure if what he intended to do was to lower your roll to a 1.
I rolled a 10.
Oh, so yeah, so just lowered it to a 9.
However, I did roll a 16, so...
Yes, you guys did succeed. I'm just like, so real quick. So, Melinoë, you like get through where you see these plants growing, and which is actually is a boon for the other two, as they see the fact that things are growing much faster in accelerated speed. And Fluff is just like, I think that's mostly the problem. This is getting a little out of control. And you guys see B squeezing through things, and I think, Charity, you're gonna see it. And maybe you can try to stop it if you want. The B slides over in her, like, you know, slime girl form. You see her uniform get caught on a thorn, and the thorn just kind of like takes a little out of B.
Oh.
B, careful, the thorns, and they're drinking. It's like the vampiric flower we encountered. I feel like these are just plants, but there are thorns. So it's the roses.
Oh, great. Hey, B, do you want to ride on my shoulders until we get past this part?
Everyone try not to bleed on anything. It could lead to more problems.
B squishes back out and climbs into Mel's hood.
B, are you a fantastic hairdo for Mel right now?
Oh, I want to have, like, the big, like, 40s curls, please. Just on the skeleton.
I was thinking a little bit Jessica Rabbit situation personally, but like...
Yes, please. just pushes the hood away and just like, I'm now your hair.
The most flowy bubble dew.
I'm gonna look at Fluffer. How about you? Do you want to have a ride up so you can direct us better?
He's like, oh no, thank you.
Okay.
And he's just like, but how are we gonna get? I can't squeeze like that. And also, like you, at this point, B and Melinoë are beyond like a set of flowers, like a set of weeds, whereas Charity and Osiria are on like in the foreground and they're in the background situation.
So
okay.
So pushing through didn't work then?
It does work, but like they grew back faster than Melinoë was able to like hold it open for you all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so Charity has been working with Peanut. So I'm looking at Corrupt. Could she potentially use that to kind of like make a path?
Well,
just enough for her to, like, just like enough for them to go single file.
I'm absolutely down for you giving that a shot.
Okay.
although
Go
I
ahead.
do have an alternative if you want to. Because alternatively, I can try to use command nature to like get them to move out of our way. But I'm open for your idea as well if that's what we want to do.
It's like I'm down with Charity. If Charity feels confident enough in like her magic to do this, I would like to see Charity do it.
Okay.
All right, fair enough.
So Charity, she pauses, she removes one glove, and everybody will see that they just like kind of like close their eyes and take a very deep breath, and they're obviously trying to remember like lessons or like mantras. So, and it's just
Yeah, 13, which looks a lot like a 5, though, doesn't it? But
Yeah,
is it
yeah.
13? So yeah, and like again, when I'm narrating these things, tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Is it just Charity holding her hand up, and then the corrupting force stops things from growing back so fast so that you can push through, or are you boring a hole?
She just kind of crouches down first and just touches the ground, and it's just the idea is just to kind of like it slowly kind of spreads in front of them, and it's just enough of a path that they can get through fast enough, because I don't know like how quickly it can recover.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So like the flowers and stuff kind of wilts away and just makes it easier to get past without hopefully anybody cutting themselves on the thorns.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, there's a nice pathway through, and Fluff is just like, neat. And he's just like, you see him like stick his hand out a little bit like towards your direction, like he wants to see what it feels like to begin wilting away.
Fluffer, careful. I'm still. I've been practicing a lot, but it's very dangerous.
Oh. Okay. I've heard that word before. And he's like, but it's safe now? After the spell is done and there's a tunnel, like there's a path for you guys to go through.
Yes, but do mind the thorn. If there's any thorns still, be careful around those.
He pulls out his stick and he just like walks the direction, swinging it at any thorn that he sees from a distance.
I'm not even sure if Fluffer has blood. But
It's just
okay.
Better safe to be sorry.
All right, so yeah, you guys get through that one just absolutely fine. And then you get into the place for real. Like, you are outside the outskirts of it, and you are seeing flowers that are bigger than you. Like, on this screen, you are probably 10 times bigger than you actually are.
Oh.
No. Charity is putting back on her glove and just kind of like staring up in awe. Like, Is it wrong to want to sit on one of the flowers?
Fluffish is like, I don't know. I don't think they mind. He's like, and he walks up to one. He's just like, I'm gonna sit on you, and then he sits on it. Nah, they seem okay with it. Look out for some of them, though. I hear some of them eat people.
Is that a recent development? Well, no, wait. You were just born, but do you know if that...
I was just born.
Right. Oh.
I wonder if he means about the carnivorous plants. If they're big enough, that probably means they do eat people who get too close.
I'm picturing this giant Venus flytrap.
In pitcher plants,
B
yeah.
is gonna poke a few as we pass.
Oh, absolutely. Give me a 20-sider B.
Feed me, Seymour.
In case you guys missed it, B said, B's gonna poke a few while they pass.
No possible way this can go wrong.
Alright, so a tough choice, B. Do you want to poke the beautiful, like, orange flower over here? Or do you want to poke this weird, like, fruit that's down at the bottom? Nobody can... Oh, actually, no, B's sitting on one of them, I think. Alright, yeah. Does B want to poke this weird fruit? Or one of the giant flowers?
The fruit.
Okay. So you poke the fruit, and it bursts open like an overly ripe melon, and everybody smells the smell of death.
That's a bad sign.
Oops.
And like Fluffer puts his hand over where his nose should be, and he's just like, I can taste it with everything. Ah! And he jumps into one of the flowers and just starts rolling around in its pollen. He's like, I think that might be the problem. Ugh. Ugh.
Sarah, you want to take a better look at this thing?
I suppose I could try.
Charity also goes over and...
Alright, so yeah. Osiria, can you give me a 20-sider real fast? Just real quick.
Is there like a vine or where is that fruit connected still to anything?
Oh yeah, it's part of this tree-ish. The very woody, very and like I'll give this for the successful thing. You guys can follow the vine back, and it's all tangled up. And further down on the vines, it has thorns.
This is all very familiar. This is exactly how the roses operate. And just like what we saw with that dragon.
Don't get me. Oof.
This is my doing.
Hey, listen, you're trying to fix it. It's fine. Don't worry, hun.
And
who are you? Says a voice from a branch above.
Charity looks up.
You see a creature that is like fully like garbed, and it has like what looks like a flower for a head, but they are wearing a mask and like dark, slightly like ominous armor. And they do not look like they fit in perfectly with this place. The way that like Fluffer like matches the art style of this place, these people do not, and this person does not. And Osiria, like for your success, you see that this fruit is natural. Although you don't see any others of the. You see a couple others, and they appear that they were made very recently. They have begun growing recently. They are not rotten. They smell rotten, and it is not. You rolled a full success, right?
Yes.
B, can you roll me a 20-sider too? Oh no, B already rolled the tough choice for it. Don't worry about it, B. I'm gonna give it to you. It kind of tasted like blood when some of it like seeped out immediately. Not exactly like blood. Like I picture that it probably tastes the same way that, what was it called? True Blood from the show True Blood? That's like artificial blood. I think it tastes like that, if that makes any sense to you guys. In Osiria, inside the fruit, there are what looks like attempts at body parts. Like, you see what could be an arm with a hand, and that looks like it might be a leg with a foot. Like, floating around the insides of this. And that's what you guys find.
All right.
I'm gonna look at the new figure. Hello, I'm Melinoë. Who
A
are
necromancer, I'm aware. I can smell you from here.
you?
That was just rude. I'm Charity. I'm also a necromancer.
Melinoë just looks so despondent, like, oh.
He turns and looks at Charity, and he's just like, of course you are. And she's like, we've been expecting you, waiting for you. Welcome.
I take it you're my accidental creation, or part of it?
Oh, don't worry. I have very little to do with you. But I know someone who does, and they need your help greatly. Please, come this way. And he's trying to take you they are trying to take you a different direction than Fluffer is. And Fluffer's just like, but we gotta go that way.
What do you mean they need my help?
You'll see when we get there. It takes longer to explain, I'm going to assume.
Charity looks really torn right now. Like,
Is okay, so when I felt the initial, like, chill of something's watching me, did I feel what kind of direction it was coming from?
Oh, it's this guy. This guy was watching you.
Oh.
He's really interested in B right now, though. Like, B and Charity really got his attention.
Lovely.
I'm going to imagine you won't let me accompany my friends first to Fluffer's master.
I'm not here to pressure you into anything. I know somebody who needs your help. Time is of the essence. Whatever helps you get to them faster, by all means. I will be around, watching. What is that?
Does this guy smell like the fruit?
Yes. He definitely, like, not as strong. But they definitely have, like, some of that smell to them. But also, they are incredibly humanoid for plant people. I think Fluffer is only incredibly vaguely humanoid. Like, he does kind of look like a character from Dr. Seuss.
So does this new character look like, I guess, what, a Sylvari from, like, Guild Wars 2, where they're, like, plant people that look like they're made out of plant matter, even though he just has a...
You can't see what they look like other than the head, because it does appear that they are wearing armor from, like, from, like, Gorget down. Also, that mask is covering whatever their face. And I did air quotes there, but...
Yeah, okay. I was just trying to see if we could look under it. Though... May we have your name, though? We still did not get it. Or what way may we call you?
You may call. I will find you.
I don't feel comfortable splitting us up. I feel we should go see Fluffer's master first.
Correct. As much as I do feel like I must rush headlong into the danger, but I think that I should hear what Fluffer's master has to say first.
More information is better than nothing. What about you two? What do you think?
B's just smelling him.
I certainly agree. It would not be the right choice to split us up in unfamiliar territory like this.
V points at the flower dude while she sniffs.
Kind of nod in agreement, just not really saying it out loud. Well, Fluffer, if you're ready, let's go see your master.
Yep. And he just jumps off to this, like, wee. And then he's just like, we'll see you later, I'm sure. Well, I might not. But I think they will. You guys have, like, a meeting planned. I heard a little bit.
Yeah. It takes obvious effort for Charity to turn away and start heading toward the master. She's I want to know more, but...
Is Melinoë noticed Charity just, like, struggling, and she just kind of, like, gently pushes along like a friend. You're like, come on, let's go. Let's go. We'll find out about it later.
Can I scoop up some of the fruit goop on the way out?
Oh, absolutely.
Just let's go.
It looks like upon, like, grabbing it like that, you notice it feels like ginger. You guys know? Do you know what I mean when I say that? Like the way that ginger feels fucking weird. Of all of, like, the things you can grab, ginger's a weird one. But you do start to notice it's very fibrous. Like these limbs are not made of living things. They appear to have been, jackfruit too. Gross. Actually, there's a cocoa beans. Have you guys ever seen when somebody breaks open a cocoa bean fresh?
Yeah.
Inside it's like that. It's white, but it looks like organs, and they've used it for, like, intestines in movies before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's kind of what it's like as she, like, as B gloops into this thing and pulls out what looks like a very pale, almost like unformed arm. But then you realize it's just a plant that looks that way. Like, it just looks like body parts, but it's not. You can also eat it if you want to. I'm not telling you what to do with your life, but...
Snack for later.
Excellent. Save it.
Listen, we did not bring snacks to the road. We did not plan.
You guys just see B put a fucking leg in her fucking self as a snack later. Like, we'll digest you later. That just means Melinoë's hair has, like, a leg sticking out of it.
I didn't know she was still on my shoulders. Oh wait, that means it was growing in length to reach down into the fruit.
Oh yeah, totally. So as we get going, Fluff is just like, this is pretty. And it's like he's like walking through, and you do see him, like, he's walking, like, once in a while he'll smack a mushroom with his stick and, like, cut its head off and then just laugh about it, and, like, he's holding one of the mushrooms like a shield on his hand, and he's just giggling around, like, hopping everywhere.
Fluffer, I know you said you were despawned. How old are you?
He's just like, I don't know how to answer that question. The sun has moved that much. And he points to about, like, where the sun would have been at noon, and it's probably like 3 p.m. now.
It's impressive for a being that's only been alive for 3 hours.
I am impressive.
I'm glad you think so.
Osiria, can you roll me a 20-sider real quick?
Alright.
Oh, nat 20. Osiria's gonna hear it immediately.
Alright. Her head is just going to immediately, like, snap towards the direction of the sound, like, she's just gonna inform the others that it sounds like somebody might be trapped, potentially.
The sound is definitely coming from this pitcher plant over here.
Oh no.
Oh no, that's oh.
How tall is the pitcher plant?
Oh, it is so much bigger than you all. Like,
Oh no.
That's I think I've read about those kind of plants. Are they not carnivorous?
It's over here, Nika, to the left.
Oh, they are. They are very carnivorous. Oh boy.
And you hear someone inside.
I believe so, yes.
I have a glaive. Does anyone else have a sharp, like a sword or something?
I have the standard company issued rapier.
Okay.
As do I.
Hello in there. I'm gonna knock on the side of the plant. See if they respond back.
I moved it over a little bit more for us. Is that close enough? Do I need to move it closer? There we are. Look at it. It's right on Charity now.
No.
B, I need you to roll me a 20-sider because whatever's in that pitcher plant smells amazing to you. Oh my god, like B, what's it look like when you just cannot resist the allure of this delicious smelling... Is that soup?
Oh no.
Good soup. Thank you, Adam Driver. While B is typing this out, I'd like to everybody to picture like...
Kind of slide off Mel's head, perch on their shoulder and roll dive inside the plant.
Oh no! Oh no!
Dude, no!
B, roll me another 20-sider, but like roll me a 1d2. 1, you go in this one. 2, you go in this one. All right. So, B, on your way into sliding it, you like it opens up enough, and you hear somebody screaming, "What the hell are you?" Ah! And B knows this, but nobody else knows this. There's a little mouse floating in B right now.
Oh,
And
no.
like you are both at the bottom of a pitcher of this pitcher plant.
I'm just gonna yell, okay, just stay away from this edge. I'm just gonna knock on it. Just stay away from here for a second. And I'm gonna take my glaive and try to cut an opening in the pitcher plant to see if I can just open it up.
Roll me a 20-sider.
Oh boy, here we go.
Can Charity assist with that with the rapier?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, go ahead and give you both can give us a roll.
Whew.
17's pretty good. 15's pretty good. Let's see if I roll higher. I died. Alright. So, how this happens is Melinoë swings the glaive and starts to go for it. You see the pitcher plant duck out of the way. And then it gets up and starts running. Charity, you hit it on as it's like running away. You deal the 2 damage to it. But this pitcher plant is just fucking out of here. It's got B in it. It's got somebody else in it, and it is running.
Oh no!
Fluff,
I don't.
Fluff is like, no, Cherubi!
Okay.
Alright.
Well, we give chase.
Osiria is the first one that able to act. Oh, my roll was raised by 1? Oh, okay, so... Nah, yeah. Okay, so it's a little bit further away.
Oh no.
Oh no!
No!
But Osiria, you're the first one to act. Like, so you see Melinoë like glaive out, fully extended, looked like it was making that hit, then just whiff, because it ducked. Charity lashes out with the saber and like catches it, and then it's just fucking it starts running. What's Osiria gonna do?
So, first and foremost, she gives a little, like an annoyed little, goddess, protect me. And then she's going to use animal form to turn into basically like kind of a fox, but also like with like a weird vine tail, and give chase after it.
Like, Fluffer's just like clapping, yeah! And like tries to hop on your back.
I mean, if he can do that while she's running, she'll let him.
Go roll me a 20-sided. Alright, so tough choice. Alright. So you can catch right up to it, and like what was your plan when you caught up to it? Were you just gonna like attack it? Or were you gonna try to okay. So your tough choice is your fangs can get right into it, and you can like either pin it down, doing 2 damage to it, but like now you will allow Melinoë, B, and Charity to each make their attacks. Oh, and Fluffer if he wants to, but he's only gonna hit it with that stick. Or you can, and like you'll take no damage if you do that. Or you can really go for the flower that B's in and bite into it. Some of the acid is gonna leak out into like on your mouth, not into you or anything, but like burn your mouth. You're gonna take 4 damage from that, but you will like deal 4 damage to it. Like everybody else, it will also stop it, but it's not dead.
I think I'll do the 2 damage and let everyone else try to get a hit on it.
Alright, everybody else make your rolls and tell me how they look. Fluffer's gonna make his roll. Here we go. Get ready for it, everybody. He's a real hero. He did nothing. Like, B, you hear a little bit of a tapping coming from outside of the thing.
We're all making rolls, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
As a little dandelion man screams for vengeance and to let go of Cherubi. Yeah, Jacob cleaves right into it.
I just whiff. I was gonna say like I was gonna try to throw the glaive because it's basically a spear with a blade at the end of it, and just to try to pin it before I realized Osiria was gonna grabbed it, and I could just say like I just nicked it.
Yeah, sure. That's I don't know why that did that. Okay. But yeah. B, what you got for us?
Instead of attacking, I'm gonna start eating the plant from the inside.
You guys all hear a voice, like another voice inside. It's like, what's happening? I think it's very, very squeaky of a voice. It's like, I think this thing's eating this thing. Well, this thing is eating that thing.
I can't even
Charity calls
this
out.
Poor guy. I'm still in animal form.
Charity calls out. She does that. Don't worry, you're safe.
I don't believe you. Charity, where did you slice into it?
Kind of above where Osiria was it biting?
Okay, absolutely. So we've done a total of 4 damage to it.
Yeah.
5 if you count the combined efforts of Melinoë and Fluffer. Melinoë missing and Fluffer just like Melinoë like clipping it and Fluffer just going to ham on it.
Yeah.
So here we go. This is its attack, and based on the numbers, we'll change the. Okay. So B, you feel like you're inside this thing, like you're basically in its stomach right now, and you feel like the whole thing is shifting, and Melinoë, the flower like aims at you, like you are now staring down the barrel of a cannon.
Oh no!
As it spits bee and the small little mouse guy out at you at a ridiculous speed, like slamming into you, and also they're both covered in that acid of this thing's stomach, so it's like burning away at you. Not forever, but like you will suffer 2 damage from it hitting you.
Okay, I'm guessing that my clothes are getting destroyed. Yay!
Not like a ton, but like, because like the mouse guy has been in there for a while and he still has his clothes on. And then you guys see this thing just kind of go limp, like it falls down. And it's just like, it's still there, but B has come flying out and like, not Osiria, B is smashed up against Melinoë. And Osiria, there's a little mouse sitting on your head now.
I imagine she just kind of looks up at him and is like, "Are you quite alright?"
He's like, "No! I was inside that weird plant, and then some weird, like, slime came in there, and, like, it all tastes like pennies."
Yes, I apologize on behalf of her, but... Look, I assure you, you are safe now.
He's just like, "And you can get me out of this forest. It's not where I was meant to be."
Where were you meant to be?
I was sent on a mission by my master. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard of it. The Black King? Leader of the Sevens? No?
Has that information gotten around in character yet, or...
I assume so, because many of you are, like, walking around with them.
Okay.
I've heard of them a little bit.
I've been a little busy training and trying to get a cat to stop smoking.
Oh. That sounds like a... And then you guys hear Fluffer, "What's smoking? Can I do it?"
No, I do not recommend it.
Oh.
It will do very long-term damage to your... I'm not even sure if you have lungs, but no, it's a bad idea all around. Leaving aside the smoke, you could catch on fire.
It would damage your very lovely dandelion fronds.
He, like, fluffs his hair a little bit, and, like, you see, like, a dozen of them go, like, floating away. He's like, "Goodbye, friends!" They'll be fine.
Heckin' adorable.
And he's just like, "What's your name?" He points at the little mouse guy. And this is, like, you can, Osiria, name him whatever you want, but he goes by H7 before he actually has a name. I'll also make him big so you guys can see what he looks like, because he's adorable. Whoop. Look at him. Look at him.
Oh my gosh, he's so cute.
Imagine the outfit is more black, though, because he's one of the black pawns.
Right.
And he's just like, "I got a little, like, I think when you threw that glaive, it nicked my ear a little bit." And he pulls out a, little, like, blue ribbon and wraps it around his ear and ties it in a bow. And he's like, "Okay."
I am so sorry.
It's like, "Oh, you threw that? It was a good throw, though. Credit where credit's due."
Thank you.
I thought it smelled like porridge. And I thought it was a plant full of porridge. Outside of my kingdom, everything's weird out here, so I just figured it was food. I saw this one house that had, like, bears in it, and they were eating porridge, but 2 out of 3 of those bowls sucked.
I'm gonna if you would excuse me, I'm just gonna very lightly tap his ear that was injured and just heal it for 1 AP, just to close it up. I'm like, I am truly sorry about that.
He's like, "It's not a problem." The bow was actually because Osiria put it in the description of the character.
Yeah,
And
I wasn't sure.
Couldn't get it in mid-journey. I
figured.
I couldn't do it. And this guy just... Fluff is like, yes! I am still the mascot and new team member.
How far away is your master's home?
Oh, he's just right around this corner. And he's like, and we'll start heading that way. And while we do that, we are going to make the rolls for the parties of the crew to see how they're doing dealing with the dandelion problem themselves. All right, so Nika, what crew are we rolling for first?
All right, let us start with Tarkus's team.
All right.
Good luck, guys.
Better luck than luck. Look at that, 18. That's pretty sick.
Out there doing the work. Good job, guys.
That's going to be hard for anybody else to beat.
All right, then this one is for Midnight's team.
Yeah.
Different parties. Lurie, just oof.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Like, a 2 does not mean you didn't get it done. No matter what you guys do, this is easy to get done.
It's like how well it's going for you and your team specifically.
Right. So just role play that 2 as it went rough, but you still did it.
Yeah.
But it
what went
rough.
Wrong? It must have gone catastrophically wrong. You pulled it out in the end, but what went wrong?
Right, exactly.
And then for Kay's team, boop. Like a middling, like a little struggle, but not too bad.
Yeah, Tarkus is fucking nailing it. Just those 3 teams? Is that what we got?
That's what we got. If anyone wants to like sign on to those teams, feel free to do so, or start your own.
There's only 4 rewards, for the record, because I already have those magic items made. So excellent. And now we're gonna go back, and Fluff is just like, and here he is, motions off to the area in front of you. It's like majestic, is he not?
Which one is he?
Yes?
Can I? Oh, go ahead. You go first.
No, I didn't have anything. I was just gonna... It's all of them.
He's just like, yeah. And you guys start to feel the ground rumbling.
Ooh.
And then all the flowers start moving like there's a heavy, like, wind happening. And then the ground stands up.
Oh my god.
Best day ever.
Why is everything adorable?
So you don't eat it.
I feel like B's gonna take that as a challenge.
And you do see this incredibly large hedgehog stand up, shake its quills, and you see like dandelion seeds pouring off of him. Like all this little like particle effects, think of them as seeds flying around. And he's just like, is that you, Fluffer? And he's like, hold on. And you see this giant like earthworm go by, and he like grabs it up and basically spaghettis this earthworm about the size of a city bus.
Oh my god, that's a big hedgehog.
Oh, yeah, again, remember, your tokens are about 10 times bigger than your characters are. That includes when you see H7.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to grab him for this one.
B reaches
Hello.
for the worm as he's slurping.
Adorable.
Oh no.
Wait, are you trying to Lady and the Tramp this fucking giant hedgehog? Roll me a 20-sider. Let's see if you can get it. I'm gonna say, all right. So you can get it, but you're gonna have to kiss this hedgehog if you want some of this worm. That's your tough choice. You down to kiss a hedgehog? Done. Fuck yeah. Like, there is a moment of B- kissing this hedgehog, and then just like Fluff is just like, oh, fresh. But again, B is tiny, And then, like, yeah, so, like, the hedgehog just does, like, stop it. So he does that, and he's just like, oh. And, like, there's definitely a moment where you guys, even through all of his fur, you see him blushing under his cheeks. I think this is a she hedgehog, for the record. I want, her name is Gaia, so. And you're her Planeteers. You could be one too. Because saving our planet is the thing to do.
B tries to wink, but really weird slime wink.
We're gonna take pollution down to 0.
That's the plan. H7 is just like, have I signed on to the wrong team? This seems weird. I just want to forage.
It gets weirder. I'm sorry. In advance. And then Charity turns to the hedgehog and says, I think I know why you called us, and I'm going to assume it has to do with the vines that are infecting things.
It does have to do with the vines infecting things. But I'm not upset about what they're doing. I'm worried for them. For her. I feel like I worry that she is dying. And I was hoping I could get a doctor to help her.
Who is dying?
The mandrake.
What the roses essentially became.
She seems to have left the rose part of herself behind. But she's deep in these woods. Oh, well, not woods, because, like, you would only say woods when there's trees, but a lot of these are just mushrooms and, like, flowers that are bigger than redwoods that you've ever seen, so I'm not sure what they call it. Maybe the garden.
Are they not causing a problem for you, or...?
Oh, not at all. She seems to have settled in nicely. I just don't want her to die.
Hmm.
And that is why they tried to get us earlier.
Oh, her... I feel like she fell into a bad crowd. I think that it was some of those obsession folks got a little in her head.
Obsession?
I don't go over there. You know, the place with all of the... he snaps his fingers a couple times, which looks adorable, and you suddenly realize that she has a thumb. And she's just like, you know, giant scary mountain, big dragon-looking guy, lots of legs.
Oh, I remember hearing about that creature.
I apparently have a lot to catch up on.
They throw amazing balls, so I've heard.
Do you perchance know what's ailing her?
I don't. That's why I was hoping we could get a doctor. Are one of you a doctor?
I am, actually.
I'm not a doctor, but I had a hand in... well... not creating her, but I had a hand in shaping them?
That... you do look the part. That's what they said. That they were birthed of the charity. I didn't know there were two of you. As, like, she points at, beings like Cherubee, Charity.
Nod,
Are there any
nod.
more?
No, thankfully, there's just me and Cherubee.
No Chera Alpha and no Chera Omega? A shame.
No Chera C.
and Fluff is just like, when you go to the bathroom, is it Chera P? Pat. So, like,
Where is the easiest path to get to them?
Oh, you can find her just this way. And like Gaia like waddles on her just 2 giant back feet instead of like going down on all fours, and just reaches one of her hands into the trees and moves it all to the side.
Is that
Go ahead.
the thing that saw us earlier? Black armored flower dude or person? Are they
her knights?
Her knight.
I don't think they'll be a threat as long as you're helping. Just, I must warn you, they are incredibly afraid of necromantic energy.
Oh.
But then why do they want me back? Specifically.
And she does a big old shrug, and like a whole bunch of pollen falls from her shoulders. Well, as much of shoulders as a hedgehog has.
I'm gonna look to our new mouse companion. Is this who you needed to speak with?
What? Oh no! This is fantastic. You see the fact that he's taking like 1,000 notes, and he's just like, now, question I have for you, Osiria. You said that was your name, right? I don't know if we ever introduced ourselves to each other. I saw that you were a fox for a minute with a vine tail. I do not recognize the fox with a vine tail. Is that your natural form, or is this your natural form? He is not paying any attention to Gaia, for the record. He is very just like locked onto what Osiria can do.
This one would be my natural form.
Ah, yes. And green skin, natural form. And you are from the seasonal side, I would take it, based on you guys' clothing? I've been to the seasonal side once. Have you ever been to a shop in Dyad? Market Square. I think it's Craig's. Fantastic grain. Krieg's? I'm pretty sure it was Craig's.
I'll have to look it up as I'm trying to hold back a laugh.
I've been to the library in Dyad.
Oh, I got chased out of there by a cat.
Thaddeus, yes.
It was a cat.
Right, and his name is Thaddeus.
Have names?
Yes.
Fluff is just like, what's a cat? You guys name your cats. I've spent too long away from home. This place is scary.
You don't know the half of it.
It's like, you guys don't, like, eat mice, right?
No.
No.
Slowly turns to look at B.
B sniffs.
B, no.
And then, like, H7's just like, oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted something. And he looks up at the giant hedgehog that's just, like, staring daggers at him. B was about to say something, though, and I want to know whatever B was about to say.
Just a small taste wouldn't hurt.
It would probably hurt me. You actually tasted this mouse when you were in that picture, by the way. He tastes He very specifically tasted the way that B tasted after she came back from her adventure as a mouse. Just a little tidbit. Not B. As Pim tastes, not B. As this mouse tasted like Pim tasted when Pim got back from the mouse adventure. Is what I was trying to say. I don't know if I said that. And Guy's just like, please, through here if you can. It's the straightest shot directly to her. Them.
Oh, okay. And
he's like, as you guys are heading off that direction, he's like, oh, be careful, the birds, and she looks at, Osiria's hair with the flowers in it, and she's just like, be careful.
All right.
Oh.
Charity may or may not have heard that as they're just like barreling forward, like they want to get to this now.
Absolutely. And like, yeah, you guys go through here and immediately, and this is going to be that ambush from earlier for the record. There
Thanks,
is,
Rico.
This griffin is huge, but it's also like a hummingbird situation. It is flapping at the speed a hummingbird flaps, but it is huge. It's about the size of a lion.
Oh.
And like, it's the wind it is creating is blowing everything back, but like you see it blowing the petals down and like going from flower to flower. It's like, this is an ambush, but it is not attacking you yet. Like, you guys can sneak through, but this creature is beautiful, for the record, in my opinion.
It is.
Oh yeah, it's very pretty.
This creature is a magical creature, for the record. You can't shapeshift into them.
Honestly, I wouldn't even have thought of trying until you brought it up.
It figured, like, you see, Fluffer's losing a lot of his, like, hair right now. A lot of it's, like, blowing away. And he is, like, hiding behind Charity to keep his, like, the rest of his fluff. Flap, 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 flap.
How high up is it flying? Like,
it is basically touching the ground sometimes. It is like flying into the trees. It is just like, it is everywhere.
Should we try to sneak past?
Yeah. I think if we keep low to the ground and, well, there's plenty of cover, we can maybe try to get past it. I don't think that I'm going to be quick enough to try to touch it to make it go to sleep.
Same, unless we hit it at the same time, but even then.
Yeah. Let us try to sneak past. I say no way that this could go wrong.
Sleep for emergencies.
Yes.
Alright. Oh, we got double up too. Okay, so try to sneak past.
Alright, who is leading the sneak past expedition?
I guess Charity, because she was like, and like she is ready to get going, so we have double up as well. Okay. Ooh,
I like that was a 2 until like it, the other one bounced into it, and then the other one came out a 1. Did everybody see that? Did it happen the same way for everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Charity, I gotta let you know what your red hair looks like right now. Your red hair looks like a nice flower that a lion-sized hummingbird might want to take a sip out of.
Yeah.
It's coming for your brain.
This is why I'm medical and not.
It's after Charity. My brain. Charity, you're gonna take 2 damage as like it tries to like move the petal of your hair out of the way, and you feel like its tongue like digging in your hair as it's lifting you up into it. Like its tongue keeps like flipping into your head, and it feels like somebody punching you in the back of the head. Because it just it's trying to get into your brain because it thinks that you're a flower.
Ow! Ow! I did not sign on for trepanning.
Charity! Emergency sleep! Emergency sleep! I'm gonna rush towards the hummingbird.
Charity's trying to reach up and put a hand like in the feathers or something, just trying to use sleep to make it go to sleep for just a little bit. Should I roll for that or?
I'm gonna let other people go real quick. I know what you're trying to do, but we got to react to your one first.
Yes.
So you guys are watching Charity like trying to like reach up. Are you trying to grab its beak too, so that you stop like being held up by your hair to try to give yourself some leverage?
Yeah, definitely. Because this is very painful. So she's just trying to grab where make the boring into her head stop.
All right, so B, Melinoë, and Osiria, what are you? I know what Melinoë's doing, but what are B and Osiria doing? Oh, I'm not on the TTS bot. Oh, there we go. All right. And Art doesn't actually have to answer this question, but I notice sometimes Art spells words wrong, but it sounds better when she spells them wrong. It's like they actually get the word right, and I'm wondering if she does that on purpose.
I think she does.
Fascinating.
I'm gonna try to climb up Charity and noodle the burb.
I really don't like the idea of noodling the burb.
It is, but doesn't do pronouncing well.
Alright, and Osiria, you see Melinoë and B charge in, and B's trying to jump at it. Climb up Charity and noodle the... Fuck, I hate it. And Melinoë's going for it. What's Osiria doing?
Unfortunately, she doesn't exactly have something for this situation herself, but I think she's going to, look to H7 and ask, do you have anything that might help us, stop this creature? Preferably non-lethally, if you could.
He looks at it, and he's holding on to your collar as the wing beats are going so fast, like hurricane winds, that he's barely on it. And he's like, I'll try! He scurries into Osiria's hair, behind your neck, and you feel it getting warm back there as he's slowly starting to cast a spell. So Osiria, B, and Melinoë, all give me a roll, please.
It's still double up.
Yep, double up is still happening. So everybody give me 2 20-siders and take the lowest. Hope that it's not a 1, because it has not been working out for Charity. I feel like double up might be a curse. Alright, so B successful. And Melinoë successful, but H7 is just okay. You have 2 choices, Osiria. Choice number 1, his spell backfires. And that doesn't backfire, it just fizzes out. And he's like, oh. Or he will stand on your head and cast out a mouse-sized fireball, but the backdraft is going to light your hair on fire. You're not going to go bald, you're just going to be on fire for a second.
As funny as the second one sounds, I think it's gonna be the first one this time.
You hear just he's like, got it, I got it, I got it, and then Charity, from being held up above this, you see a little mouse climb on the back of Osiria's head, grabbing onto Osiria's hair, with everything he has in one hand, and in his other hand he has this massive fireball. It looks about the size of a marble, and he's getting ready to throw it, and he's just like, "Have at thee!" And as he starts to throw it, the wind just takes him, and he goes cartwheel, like flailing backwards, and you see the little like fireball in the air just go. I wasn't setting anything on fire with that, for the record. All right, and B has begun, I guess, slithering up. Slithering up Charity's body. Were you trying to like get into its mouth? Is that what you meant by noodle? Got a lot of Lady and Tramp happening in this episode. Except the ridiculously racist.
Yeah, or the closest opening.
Yeah, the mouth is definitely it. Alright, so yeah, you get in there, and like, Charity, it stops punching you in the back of the head with its tongue. It feels like it got something there.
Yeah, but Charity's also like feeling B slither up their body.
Yeah,
they're like,
for sure.
They're like, oh, this is
Alright.
I don't like it.
Melinoë, what were you doing?
I was trying to cast sleep on it.
Sleep, okay. Yeah, and it starts to relax after it thinks it got the pollen out of Charity, and it lets Charity fall. It's not too far. It doesn't hurt bad. Also, the ground here is very soft.
Ooh.
And yeah, it starts like going to sleep. And like you guys just like the wind stops going nearly as fast, and then it's like it collapses down. B, you have full control over this weird griffin.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Charity is like rubbing at their head and like
Sweet.
trying to.
Let's go, bois.
That was supposed to be "Let's go, boys," but I really like the "Let's go, boss." All right, go team boss. And yeah, Charity, you feel like that. When you touch the ground again, you feel that heartbeat again. Hemiogriff is terrible.
Charity looks at the griffin and knows what's going on and just, I will worry about that later. I feel the heartbeat. And they pause in trying to get a like direction to go in, just trying to figure out where to go.
Oh, I don't think you need to worry about it. I think like you instinctually know like this way, and you can just like start walking that way.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
Before I forget,
Be eyes
Mr.
the
Nutty!
mouse for a hot second.
Oh no!
H7 like pulls out. You see him like pull out his He pulls out a staff, like it looks like a ridiculous like wizard staff with the like holding the orb at the end and everything. And then you see him pull a sword out of it, and it's just like, "Have at thee!" And he charges again, like because he doesn't know that the burb is now B, and he's just charging it.
Wait, no.
I will save my dear friend Clarabee. And Fluff is just like, "Yeah, get him."
No.
No.
No, B is
Listen. It is alright. Just, it may look strange, but she is fine.
And he's just like, "She's fine."
Burbly rolls over and plays dead.
Oh no. And you guys hear the fucking Final Fantasy fanfare goes off. And like it literally you hear it. And he's just like, "I've done it. I've avenged Clarabee."
Just let him think it. Just let him think it.
And just like an applause that you fucking like have never heard for like this level of applause coming from one little tiny like dandelion man before.
Charity is standing there, mouth open, trying to find words, and then they just finally say, I'm going to go this way. This is where we need to go. Just trust me, and just starts walking.
Right, yes, of course.
I'm gonna look out into the plant life and go, Mr. Knight, you said you would find us if we called you.
And it's like, it's just here. And like, it's coming from the direction that Charity was planning on going.
Okay. Nice to just have someone who knows that we're coming. That's it.
Well, they did say that they're dying, so...
Alright, so yeah, you guys, get ready for a real wild picture for the record, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I normally don't warn you guys, but this one's weird.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Is that...
You all see Charity's face multiple times looking back at you as like these root creatures, like all tangled up as one.
Charity approaches but stops like well before like remembering what the hedgehog said about necromancy. Charity's not going to get too close, just in case.
Fluffer does.
Yeah, well, Fluffer's not. Yeah.
Fluffer walks up and she's like, "Oh, I like your hats. Everybody's got such nice hats." And she's like, "Oh, that is the problem." And you all will hear, everybody that has the doctor class, roll me a 20-sider.
Mm-hmm.
Even if like you're not a doctor on the crew, if you have doctor class, roll me a 20-sider.
Is that all of us, or?
It might be all of you. I know. That looked like a 1 for a second, but then turned into a 19. So
yeah, I was like, not again.
Right. Sparkly's the only one that doesn't get it, but that's okay because Sparkly's mostly works in death. You hear like the breathing is very difficult. You can hear it, like as the mandrake like tries to breathe, and like you can hear like something catching in her lungs. And she's just like, "Hello, welcome to my court." And like I was like teetering on the edge of like, do I want to try to do an accent, but I can't. She sounds very similar to the way that Charity talks. But she doesn't look exactly like Charity. Like they don't look exactly like you. Just right. You can see the basis.
It's in your chest. Oh. It's in your chest, isn't it?
She's many of the heads nod. But this one, like the flower jester walks forward and she's just like, "And how do we know that the hedgehog speaks truth? That you can heal?"
I don't know that, but I'm not a doctor per se. Well,
this one reeks of necromancy. Motioning towards Melinoë.
I'm a product of necromancy. I don't practice it myself. Getting a bit defensive.
The mandrake coughs a bit, and it's just like, "Aren't we all?"
I'm the doctor that was summoned. I can help you, if you would let me.
This is gonna take research rolls from all of you.
Okay.
Like I do not need I don't need successes from all of you. So let's think about it like this way. If you roll a 20, that's 2 successes. If you roll a success, it's 1. If it's a 0, and if it's a 6 to 10, it's 0. 5 or less, -1, 1, -2. We just need this to be positive.
Okay. So I have the ability called Diagnose, which allows me to diagnose a mysterious affliction like a disease, spell, or curse.
Sure.
Could I use that as an assistant?
Yes. If you're using Diagnose, spend the AP and roll me 2 dice and take the higher.
Okay.
All right, I have that as well. So
I'll go ahead and roll.
That's what I'm going to do. Okay.
H7 is currently watching the griffin like, how did you get up? I defeated you so thoroughly. A dangerous foe. Alright, so we're sitting at 2. We're still sitting at 2. And then B rolled a 16 at the same time, so we are sitting at 3, yeah? 3 gives you all the knowledge that you guys want. So what's it look like as you guys are examining your patient? Like, around you, the court of flowers is staring you down, like watching everything you do. Like, if you pull out like a scalpel to take a sample or anything, which is perfectly fine if that's part of what you're doing, like, they are there making sure that you are not hurting them.
I think the first thing I'm going to do, just to try to show some trust, is because the cloak I have covers a lot of plant life that's actually on the robot body, I'm going to go ahead and take that off and just kind of like empty my pockets and put all the stuff on top of my cloak, and then just proceed to be all like very showing like, here's my hands, and then just examining the mandrake at like where it looks like from flesh it turns into plant life.
No, Charity takes a less not like a non-invasive approach. First, they're like looking at the plant's hands, like looking at their fingernails and stuff, assuming that if they have lungs that process oxygen, they can determine, is there enough oxygen? Well, obviously there's not enough oxygen, but just to see if there's like any other signs that they're like very, very close to death, or how like if you like your nail beds and stuff. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I
color, like the color of like their extremities, and also looking at the roots, just making sure there's like, and just trying to magically sense as well that there's like none of that other corruption that they know about. Remembering that at some point there was interference, or even if it was before Charity came along, something else like the Lady of Ash. See if there's still any lingering effects of that.
Absolutely. I just want to get everybody's way of doing it first, and then I'll let you guys know what you find. B, how are you? B or Osiria, either one. How are you researching this? Like, I feel like I know what B's gonna say, and I'm gonna say gross. But
pretty much.
Yeah. Wait, you're in this weird hummingbird thing. Like, are you gonna, like, hummingbird it? I like how B is always just piloting things like they're mechs. This hummingbird's completely asleep, by the way. It is just fucking out. And B is just marionetting it. It goes in the bee hole. The bee hole could mean the butthole, though, and I didn't mean it to. B's typing, everybody, in case you're wondering.
I'll check out the soil to see if I can smell anything at the roots before I slurp out of the burb, and ask if she will mind if I take a very close look.
No, she's cool with you taking a very close look, but yeah, checking the soil, absolutely. Osiria, how are you and H7 doing?
Well, I feel like Osiria's trying to look over them more like, just look for anything that might be wrong on the more, like, plant side of things, since, yes, she technically has doctor abilities, but she is not a doctor. She is not going to be able to help with any of the like more like human issues, which honestly I think that's why it's like a low roll, is because that's probably not where the problem is right now.
H7 is just like, I'm a sorcerer warrior. I'm a sorcerer fighter. Those are my classes. I don't know how to help with this. And so one second. All right. So as like you guys like get into it, so B, you're studying the soil. It is a lot of volcanic ash is all throughout the soil, and you do see her roots are digging into the ash trying to help, but you can tell that it is exasperating a problem that is already happening. Charity, you do notice that the extremities are beginning to wilt and die. Like something inside is poisoning her. And Osiria, you realize the fact that she is trying to eat like a plant eats is causing her problems. Like she is not a plant. Like not fully. And that is what is happening. And Melinoë, you realize that what's inside is a bit of necromantic energy. Like she has a bit, like yeah, we know the word. A phylactery is inside of her. Like maybe not one made on purpose or made for the purpose of keeping something else alive. Was supposed to keep this thing alive.
Does the phylactery seem damaged at all?
Yes. Only in the sense that you don't believe she needs it. She's not undead. Like the phylactery might have been made to originally control it before whoever created it lost interest.
It's okay.
And I'm relaying this to everybody, of course.
Yeah, all signs point to it being an internal issue. Yes, you're correct. And now I'm thinking back to originally when we first the very first time we encountered the roses, Charity encountered the roses. There was no necromantic magic in them at that point, or was
there was?
There was, okay.
Because you turned that giant lich into these bushes.
Okay. Right.
Like the reason it looks like you is because you fed it blood, but it probably could have happened on anybody's.
Right.
Art is writing something.
Would we know if removing it would hurt her in any way?
You do not think, based on you guys' successful rolls, because 3 successes, that's a 20 for it. You know that removing it is probably the correct answer. You also realize that removing it is dangerous. Like, the act of removing it is dangerous, but the act of leaving it in her is also slowly killing her.
Okay.
You have to remove the phylactery. But before we start, and Charity is gonna talk to the plant. I'm sorry. I did not intend for what happened to you. I was curious, and well, I don't think anyone could have predicted this, but I want you to know I didn't intend to cause pain or for everything that's happened.
You see a dozen hands go up in the air with like a waving you off gesture. It says, "We are alive. We are happy to be alive." And we have made this for ourselves, and she motions around her like court, which you just see like are like flower people that she has dressed in armor.
I see that. Charity looks at Melinoë. He's like, how do you know how to go about safely, or as safely as we can, extracting the phylactery?
The thing is it's better if I could actually see it and to see how damaged it is. And then from there, try to figure out a good way to try to, I don't know, maybe magically infuse something to keep it steady as we try to remove it. Because I'm scared about jostling it and it breaking and it causing a bad reaction inside of her and acting like an infection, like a pus-filled boil bursting.
Of course, and then
I have a horrible idea.
Oh, B.
Oh no. And also, I would like to preserve it so that we might study it, because I suspect this was in the original creature that birthed the roses.
I agree.
What if I go in and try to become the new host to get it out of her? Then we can deal with me later.
Oh, I don't know if that's a good idea, and the court would appreciate that.
Don't know. I saw what happened with the dragon.
Do I know, like, where this phylactery is located?
I'm squishy. It'll be safe during travel.
I mean, I don't...
Okay. I'm trying to make sure I'm understanding what Art is propositioning here. Is Art saying that B goes inside the mandrake, takes over the mandrake, and basically pilots it back to the silver thimble so you guys can like safely study it? Is that what you're saying?
Or did they mean to like...
Oh, you mean to go in and get the phylactery. Ah, okay. And like pull it out of her. Okay.
Not take over the mandrake, kind of engulf the phylactery and split it from her.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
Or what we could do is, if she lets us, B engulfs the phylactery, and then I can reach in around and try to disconnect it if there's anything keeping it attached to her. Because we don't know if it's like leached onto her like a tumor would.
Mm-hmm.
Osiria, can you roll me a 20-setter?
Yep.
Also, has Charity felt like any like outside of the phylactery, like anything like outside influence trying to come in, like as far as magically, like necromantic magic, anything like still connected?
The phylactery is definitely magical in nature.
Yeah.
But that is the only like outside source of magic that you can feel.
Okay.
Osiria just rolled a 4.
I am going to play a card on that one.
Okay,
so...
go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to make that a triumph. I want this to succeed.
Absolutely. So, like, Osiria, as you're, like, looking at it, you feel like it's just like, okay, you're looking for a phylactery because they're talking about it, and you're not a lich of any kind, or, like, weird, like, B. And H7's, like, on your thing, and he's just like, yeah, okay, like, I don't see anything. And then, like, as she moves to get, like, a little comfortable, you smell it. Like, immediately. Hits you. Like, you were about to say, like, no, it's not connected to anything. Like, no, it's so connected you can't remove it, but then you smell it. You feel that hit of brimstone catches your nose. And you see there's a little bit of, like, fire coming out from between some of, like, the roots. And, like, she is smoldering. Like, it is basically her heart. Like, that is where the phylactery is. And you know that it is something on fire that is the phylactery.
Alright. So, Osiria is going to take a few cautious steps back, but she is going to relay that information to the party that, like, it is there, and basically what she saw.
Did you say brimstone?
Yes.
That's the Lady of Ash. The one that Midnight's been tracking.
So how big is the mandrake compared to us? Like, I'm guessing
she's huge. She is fucking huge. Absolutely Goliath compared to you. Like, you guys can just crawl around on her. So the way that I want this to work is, if we are going with the bee goes inside her plan, like to get the thing, Charity and Melinoë, you tell me how you are helping bee do this, and you will add a plus, and then you make the roll, and you will add a +1 for a success to whatever bee rolls, or a +2 for a success, for a triumph. Osiria is giving you her +2 because of the 20 she got.
Okay.
So, best case scenario, when B makes her roll, she gets +6.
Okay.
So who wants to go first and take the +2?
I already have an idea. If you wouldn't mind me going first, unless you want to go.
Go ahead. I'm still.
Okay. So since she's so much bigger than us, I know this will hurt a lot, but would you mind moving your roots a bit so we could try to get closer and get a better look at what is causing you this affliction? And I'm just gonna kind of
a lady would never. And she waves her she fans her face, and then she does move her roots as much as she can.
Thank you.
And I'm going to. Cherry's going to use...
make a roll real quick.
Yeah.
Melinoë.
Just carefully climbing along them to see if I can get a better look at where the damage is.
$17 + 2, 19.
Okay.
Is anybody raising that by 1? I just need to know. Because if you are, then I'm going to give Charity a +4 to this roll. If not, it's a +3.
Okay.
Okay, Professor Winter is. So we're just going to give you the +4, and then they'll play the roll.
Okay, so while Melinoë's doing her thing and then preparing for whenever B makes...
I'm just trying to really fully assess the damage of the burning.
Yeah, I'm going to use Nox right now to kind of induce a feeling of relaxation and just calm throughout her, so she's not no sudden movements or anything that might cause her to accidentally get more injured.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So go ahead and make your roll and take a +4.
Whew, 15.
So 15. So we have B going in for open root surgery situation.
Yeah. Me directing them as best as I can.
Yep, absolutely. And the calm and Osiria is just step back with H7, and I think Fluffer is also just scrubbing his hands right now. It's just, this is what we're supposed to do, right? I'm washing up. I'm ready to go. He's got a leaf over his mouth and nose. All right, let's go.
We have you on standby, Fluffer.
Fluffer's just got his hands up in the air at like a surgeon does right before going in. All right, B, did you want to roll then narrate what you're doing, or narrate and then roll?
No, they're typing.
Well, watching art type for the record, in case anybody was wondering what's happening.
The anticipation.
We're very excited.
Just rock your picture show.
Before B goes in, she's gonna eye each guard, point at them, then the sleeping bird, then goes in.
That's a 23. You nail it, B. Just fucking just get it done. Can I do... What am I moving? Oh, I moved the wrong thing. Alright, so you all see B go in there, and she slurps through the like now loosened roots, and like it's definitely causing Mandrake some harm. Like she doesn't love this, but surgery causes harm anyway. We all know this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, yeah, and so that is where we're like, it's you getting in there. But how does it go? B, what you see inside, and then you can narrate how it's happening. Is you do see a flaming rose is inside of it. Like that is the phylactery that you were looking for. How does that look?
I'm going to attempt to wrap around it so it's fully inside me, double check to make sure there isn't any other damage to the mandrake, and then slowly try to come back out.
Alright, yeah, absolutely. You see that. Everybody sees that. And as B squeezes out, because like a 23 is pretty good, it's 3 higher than you ever should be able to get. You see B come out with a still, like completely engulfed in her, flaming rose. But it is not hurting B at this point. As she, like, I don't know how B's inner workings make it so she doesn't get burnt by this, but she doesn't.
Right after, I have a card, I'm gonna use it. Right after B, like, takes the phylactery and moves it out safely. I'm gonna go ahead and use, because I've been holding on to this thing, I'm gonna use an HP shot to kind of give the Mandrake a boost into feeling better. And try to start, like, I guess, like, trying to make sure that the burns are starting to die down.
Yeah, like, right after, it was like, yeah, it's perfect. You guys got it just right. And she's, like, you feel her, like, breathe out with this huge, just, and you don't hear her lungs catching in that one. Like, when she breathes out, like, it's just, the scent of, like, roses comes out, but, like, pleasantly. Not sickeningly sweet, not with a hint of brimstone. This is just good.
Alright, I'm gonna just gently crawl back out and be like, alright, you're good to go. Thank you so much.
Charity lets go, takes a step back, and just kind of like also takes like a deep kind of breath.
So yeah, the court gathers around her, and like she like starts to close her eyes, like all of them, and she's just like, I might need to rest a bit, but please join me in the future. I feel like we could work together. And like she like reaches her hand, like all of her hands go out, like not all of them, but whichever ones are closest to you all, and they each like do the cup the side of your cheek situation, and then they all just start to fall asleep. And her guards like go around her, and like you see weapons come out of nowhere, and like they're not attacking you, but they are standing rigid guard.
When she touches B, I'm going to use Restore on her.
Oh, for sure. You guys can use your healing spells. She is fine, but like she will appreciate like the extra. Like, and yeah. So B, what do you do? Maybe we'll ask you this later, but do you give up this rose immediately, or do you keep holding it inside of B?
Each of the guards get a candy too.
Oh no.
Excellent.
Okay. Osiria, Charity, and Melinoë, each roll me a d6. Osiria, this one's yours. You get the Jester. Melinoë, you get the Knight, and you get the Bishop.
Unless we have a plan for right this second, I'm gonna hold onto it till we get back.
Alright. B, you can suddenly see everything out of the eyes of the Jester. Like, you now will know where the Jester is at all times.
Of course it's the Jester.
Nice.
The Bishop, his eye, like, he doesn't have eyes because he's a flower, but, like, behind his mask, like, are two pinpricks of light coming through. But the other Knight, nothing. That one just really loves the candy. Fucking 5s. But yeah, as you guys, like, she needs her sleep, and they're so thanking you. They're thanking you so much for it. And like, but she needs her rest. Will you give it to her? Will you allow us this?
Of course.
Of course.
Thank
you know
you.
how to.
Oh, go ahead.
You know how to reach out to us, or at least the goddess the Flora knows how to reach us.
Gaia can do it, Fluffer says. Today's was weird. And you guys look up, and the sun has begun to set in the distance. And Fluffer's like, oh, we gotta hurry. We gotta get to the water.
Of course, I'm gonna grab all my stuff and quickly just put it back on since I took it off. It's like, and thank you so much for letting us work on her. I'm glad we were able to help.
Yeah.
And they're all like, they all put their hands over where like your heart would be. And like they all like bow to each one of you. In turn. Like
Charity does a little bow and then turns and begins kind of walking very quietly in quiet contemplation, but also keeping an eye on B to make sure like nothing goes wrong with the flower phylactery.
So, like, Fluffer is running through the forest at this point. And like you guys get back to the edge of the water, and he's like, nice! I didn't miss it, as you watch the sun start to set, and like all of these like dandelions are going through. He's like, oh, they dealt with a lot of those. I was a little worried about them. Like, it's a tricky way to travel. But this was a great day, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you for guiding us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that.
He like you see him like burying his feet in like the sand, the dirt and sand next to him. He's like, all right, this'll do. It's been great. And then he just falls backwards and explodes into thousands of little like dandelion things.
What?
Aw.
At least he enjoyed his life.
Of course. Charity momentarily just glances over at Osiria and says, do you think that there's something, some kind of containment system or some kind of magical protection we could put when we get back, put around the phylactery when we get back to the silver thimble?
I believe something could be arranged.
We need to study it, but I want to make sure that it's safely contained as well. I would hate for anything to leak out or we set another fire.
Of course. However, if it is not too much to ask, could somebody else do the handling of this flower going forward?
I don't mind doing it.
I can do it as well. since I'm inorganic for the most part.
Do phylacteries clash or anything? Should I stay away from Mel?
I mean,
no.
That's completely up to you on this stage, B. Like, well, I'm just gonna say, Art, you have narrative control over that. Your roll was a 23. Whatever you want to have happen with that phylactery in you, that is on you, and we can deal with it in the future. For absolutely sure, because I know we've had conversations in the past about things.
You know what would be really useful to probably contain something like that? Do we have any of this similar material that they use in Gibbet to counteract magic?
You guys have not figured out how to make null metal yet, I don't think.
I wonder if we can call in a favor with Sal and just get a small safe.
In theory, as a necromancer, I should be able... Well, I don't know. I've never really handled phylacteries before.
Well, you're talking to a walking one.
I understand that. It's a bit different for me. I don't know if it was made by someone else, if it will... I don't know the right wording, but heed the command of a different person.
What? We could do a small experiment right now. If B is up for it. We can have B place the flower in my hand, but be ready to jump back on it to see if we react badly. And I can stand in the middle of the lake, or at least on a rock or something, so I'm at least away from plant life. What do you say, B? Orisa?
B is typing.
Yee.
Stick you hand in me instead, just in case.
Not a
That
problem.
will never not be unsettling.
Oh, thankfully I can't feel it. Alright, if everyone's okay with this. Osiria?
You are.
I think Osiria is just gonna get some safe distance and then be like, alright, do whatever you must.
Alright, I'm gonna really quickly cast Calcify on myself. Just to resist some damage.
H7 sticks his staff out and a little it's about the size of a buckler magic force field goes up in front of Osiria and him. He's just like, I got this one.
I'm gonna very gently take both hands and basically put it cupping the bloom of the rose. And then if nothing reacts, then just gently pull it out of B.
Lorp.
And this is up to B what you want to have happen. Does it work? Do they get it out of you? Do you need to keep it in you longer?
Oh. That does not look like a 4.
It's a 4. B is typing, nobody panic.
Just Rocky Horror. The anticipation.
It starts to burn wherever Mel touches the flames.
So Mel, yeah, it hurts. It hurts you. You grab your hand out of there. It is not burning B, but it was burning your mechanical hands to the point where you cannot handle this thing.
Okay. But other than that, the necromantic magic that keeps me what I am and the rose aren't reacting badly to each other?
They're not reacting that way.
Okay.
You do feel like it will, whatever B is doing to it, even if it's subconscious, is keeping it safe. And you don't feel the bleed out. Charity, you don't feel any of that magic coming out of it. Osiria, you don't see any of the plants reacting to it. The rose that is inside of it is keeping its form, and it is fueling its own fire.
Okay, well, if I try to handle it, it's going to melt my hands into scrap.
As I said, we need some kind of containment for it, I fear. I don't know that I could command it or control the flames at all. Even.
Well, we can always ask Lore to call Sal and see if we can call in a favor. If anything, B can hold on to it for now.
You do all see giant, like, dandelion, like, seeds come from the center of the island as the wind shifts direction to help you all get off of this island.
Well, time to head back.
Charity turns and looks at where Fluffer kind of went poof.
You feel a sense of contentment, like some of those dandelions definitely like swirl around you guys, like seeds swirl around you, and then you see them like planting themselves all along this coast, like like they're all taking root.
Really quickly, where he poofed away, just draw a small little dandelion, like even though if it's crappy, just a little small dandelion where he poofed.
Yeah.
Nice. And yeah, that is the end of Oak and Ash and Thorn. Thank you guys, and let's talk about the game that happened away from it. So I heard... Oh, B's typing. Let me let B...
Be'll stick a candy in the ground so it looks like a fluff flying off of Mel's drawing.
Oh.
I knew he was going to die at the end of this... Well, I knew he was going to disappear at the end of this game. It's just sad. Alright, so I heard Tarkus, Karam, Cass, and Akana were just shooting down the things and then like burning them, which is a very effective tactic if you ask me. Just like fucking shoot them down, and that's metal as hell. It is hilarious that it's those four that got these magic items, because I don't think many of those four are gonna find any use for it. But I will drop them in the workshop and at them about it. Here we go. Is this correct? Let me make sure everything's right. Seems like everything's right. Here you guys go. Choose whichever one you want. As like, there's like a ceremony of just a bunch of like nose runny, watery eyed, like sneezing like crazy people. Like, thank you guys for doing this. Hopefully it wears off in a time. I, Chester of the Guild. I fucking take your items. Go. I'm too tired.
Mood.
Oh, sorry.
I will say, as they're flying back, Melinoë's probably gonna like just offhandedly say, if B's like hanging on, it's like, as much as I hate to say it, they got the better end of the deal of the necromantic magic if they look like that. They're made out of flowers. Kind of jealous. Just a tiny bit.
True. I always worry what's going to happen when I die, if I die.
You're not going to try to go the route that I am? Though granted.
I'm not sure. Depends on how I feel, I suppose, when it comes to that time, but I'm still young yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot to learn about my own magic that I've never had the opportunity to. Peanut's been helping me with that. Just wish he'd stop smoking.
He pats Mel and listens quietly.
Peanut is a good lad. So yeah, thank you all for playing this game. This game was a lot of fun for me. I hope everybody had fun. I really liked the maps, how they were coming out in this one.
Yeah,
so cool.
Everything was so pretty this game.
Just Orisa and Mel going like, oh
Gorgeous.
my god, everything's gorgeous.
Like, if y'all aren't careful, you're just gonna lose Osiria here forever.
I definitely want to do more stuff here. Like, this wasn't even my original plan for this area. It's just like the artwork took me this direction. I'm like, cool, all right, this is where we'll go. But go ahead.
And Charity will definitely be curious to like check in on occasion because I mean it's that's something that she had a hand in creating, kinda.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, she's just a character. Like, the Mandrake is now just a character. That could have gone so much worse if any of you like really like leaned into using your necromantic magic. Like, if you had like really leaned in while you were here, you would have had a problem.
Yeah.
But you didn't.
I'm just a product of necromancy. So like necromancy was like, I'm the product of one.
It was just a part of Charity, like stretching out and just trying to very controlled, like the whole wilting the path thing.
You rolled completely successful, so I love my hummingbird griffin. Look at him. Look at him.
He's gorgeous.
Look at my hummingbird griffin.
I was gonna ask if they considered taking over the burb necromancy or if it's a very specific thing.
It's a very specific thing. It's not. It wasn't dead when you took it over. You just like it fell asleep and you filled its veins. Situation. But yeah, so like tomorrow we have the game that is it's called Magic. So that'll be fun. I'm really looking forward to that one. Oh yeah, recap. Sorry. Now I will recap today's game. Nika's gonna like move the screen so I know when to do it. There's a lot of beeping outside. Alright, so today we went into what I am tentatively calling Gaia's Garden. It is the south of Yoke, the large plant life. The reason that they went there is like there were large dandelion fluffs coming in from outside, from the south, and they were landing on and near people's homes, and they were so big they weren't causing like massive damage, but they could like put a hole in a roof situation and knock over a cart. Like that's how large they were, and really these were just vehicles for to get attention. They were specifically looking for the Wander Crew. They were looking for Charity, a doctor, somebody with necromantic abilities, and a botanist, and they just happened to find all four. And then they met Fluffer, who was a little dandelion guy, and he was just born today. He was born around noon. And then they rode dandelions back into the garden. They met a giant hedgehog named Gaia. They met a flower knight. They did not get the flower knight's name. He doesn't have names. They don't have names, for the record. Not yet. Now that you guys have made those people, like, actual, like, they will be going on, they will start adopting names. And then, like, they met Gaia, huge hedgehog, absolute, like, beast. They saved a little mouse from a pitcher plant. His name is H7, and he has decided that he is Osiria's apprentice now, whether Osiria wants it or not. Osiria turned into a fox. He thinks that's real rad. Then they performed surgery on the Mandrake, who is the giant conglomeration of a bunch of different creatures that came to be after a bunch of chance encounters. So, like, whatever spell the Lady of Ash, or the Ashen Lady, put on the nest that was the hive of the wasps, Charity then came along with, and it activated based on Charity's necromantic magic, and then it came to life and attacked them. When Charity killed it with Heart Kill, she turned it into a seed and then planted the seed. And then when a rose bush, like, formed, Charity fed it its blood. All of those things combined in a really weird way to form the Mandrake. Like, I had no original plan that story was gonna happen. Like, we've learned that when influenced by magic, those vines can go a different direction, but this is the only vines left. Like, everything, like, Gibbet has, like, I don't know. We'll talk about that later. But, so yeah. You guys saved the Mandrake. She's resting comfortably now. She refilled her HP to full. So, like, and she does want to work with the party in the future. Then you guys went to the beach, and Fluffer just, like, buried his feet in the sand. And then, poof. And there we go. And that was today's game. Oak, and Ash, and Thorn. Thank you all for playing. And thank you guys for RPing in the chat.
Thank you all so much.
Yeah.
So tomorrow you can join us for Magic, which is Akana, Aurel, Zapna, and returning character Rylene, who we've not seen since Toxic last season, like early last season, I think. As they dive into the hidden side of Yoke. Make sure you review the branch descriptions in Discord for like the departments. It's in the workshop, pinned in the workshop. Pick your department if desired, otherwise we'll manually assign you, DM me, etc., etc. Then there'll be an extra stream Monday, Tuesday to resolve art, character, legendary abilities, answer questions, blah blah blah, stuff like that. I'll have an actual final date and schedule for that for you guys tomorrow. So yeah, we will see y'all tomorrow. Bye forever.
Bye forever.
You won't see Fluffy tomorrow. He's
forever.
dead.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow. Okay.